Gas up the Jeep, it's good to be free. Load up the pans and fishing poles. The highway is long, the wheels turning round. Pack up the cook stove and the bowls. Arlo and I, we hit the open road. Arlo and I are on the road.
Hey everybody, I'm back in the kitchen again today, and it's a beautiful October afternoon. We're at the end of October now, and the weather is absolutely perfect. It's probably in the upper 60s right now, and it's got me starting to think about those fall items and stuff. So I was thinking about Thanksgiving, and I saw some nice little yams in the store the other day, so I grabbed those, and I thought that I would make a my version of a candied yams, or actually these are sweet potatoes, candied sweet potatoes. Everybody calls them yams, although technically they are really sweet potatoes, but that's a whole nother story. But you know, I may either call them sweet potatoes or yams in this recipe, but just know that these really are sweet potatoes. So this is going to be another one of my super simple recipes. I'm going to use the yams. I have some now this is the fun part for this recipe, is I have some of this fir tip syrup that I made earlier in the spring, where I took the fir tips off of the fir trees out in the woods, and I packed them in brown sugar. And there's actually a video of me making fir tip syrup. If you scroll back, and you'll find that video, and you can see how I made this syrup. And that was months ago, and now it's this beautiful dark brown and beautiful smelling syrup. Oh, it just smells like the pine forest, or the fir forest, actually. So we're going to use that as our sweetener instead of honey or molasses or sugar, anything like that. We're just going to use this fir tip syrup and add a little bit of the terroir to our recipe here. So it's going to taste like the forest right here. I also have some orange. I think this happens to be a blood orange. It doesn't matter what kind of orange. And I have a little bit of salt. Now, there's lots of different ways to go about making like candied yams. The way that I traditionally make it is I leave them in larger pieces, and then I pre-cook them. I steam them or I boil them ahead of time, and then I'll add that to the pan, and then add all my other ingredients. Sometimes you'll see a lot of people, they make them from a raw state, where they will take the sweet potatoes and slice them into thin slices, and then start adding their sugar and their butter and things like that. Oh, butter, that's what I'm missing here. Almost forgot one of the most important ingredients. We have our yams, butter, our fir tip syrup, and I have a little orange. I'm going to put that. I'm going to use a little of the zest, and I'm going to use a little bit of the juice. And that's it. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is peel these potatoes. So I'm going to cut these into sort of pieces like, let me see, maybe about like that. I like pieces that are about this size. And I'm going to put them, I have a pot with water here. I'm actually going to put some salt in here too, just a little bit more. And then we'll continue with our potatoes, just like that. I really like this shape and this size. And we'll put those into our water, and we'll just continue peeling the rest of these. I'm just using about 4 these smaller size sweet potatoes. Okay, we'll get the rest of these. I'll be about approximately the same size. This one's a little fatter, so I'm going to cut it into this end into quarters, just like that, so they're about the same size. And then here. Alright, just like that. Alright, I have these potatoes on the stove. I'm just going to bring them up to a simmer, and I'm going to cook them until they're about 3/4 of the way cooked. I didn't time these, but they've been going for about 10 minutes, and as you can see, they're starting to get tender. I can pierce them with a fork pretty easily. They're about almost 3/4 of the way cooked. Right, so we just need to drain these, and then we'll get started with the rest of our recipe. So once again, we're going to start with our cast iron pan, and then I'm going to put some butter into our pan. I'll probably end up adding a little bit more. And once again, we don't want our pan to be too hot to get started. And then I'm going to add to this butter, I'm going to add our yams, or our sweet potatoes. Okay, really, we just want to start finishing cooking the sweet potatoes, and we want to start getting a little brown, a little nice color on there before we add any of the other ingredients. I actually may add a little bit of salt at this point. We did salt our water, but we do need a little salt because this is a sweet dish and we need to balance this out just a little bit. Okay, it's been just a couple of minutes, and you can see that our sweet potatoes are starting to get a nice little bit of color on there. We just want to get this process started just a little bit before we add our sugar, well, our sugar syrup. And this is why we wanted to cook them only to about 3/4 of the way, because you know, they're very soft, and then once you start stirring them around in the pan, they tend to break up really easily. So I like to kind of get them started but not cook them all the way. You can see they're right now they're starting to get a little bit of nice color on there. So now I'm going to add some of our fir tip syrup. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, it just smells like pine, like fir tree. What we're going to do is sort of make a glaze here. I'm going to turn this down a little. Make a glaze to coat all of our potatoes and get them nice and shiny. And then I'm going to add some of our orange zest. So this is a little of that. Oops. Just like that. And then I'm going to cut this orange in half. And then obviously this is a blood orange. I'm going to squeeze this juice, this orange, into here. And that's really it. That's really all that we're going to put into our yams here. We're just going to let this reduce down and glaze those potatoes until they're nice and shiny, and then we're all set. I wish I could describe this aroma coming from these potatoes. With the fir tip syrup adds a sort of a piney Christmas tree kind of a aroma to it and flavor, and then that orange, it just smells so good. Oh yeah. Okay, I think that looks perfect. Let's bring it over here and we'll try it out. Wow, that looks really beautiful. And of course, I'll add a little color as usual. We'll add a little chopped parsley to this, and there is our completed dish. Doesn't that look good? Okay, there it is. Look at that. Those are, what did I call this? Our fir tip syrup glazed sweet potatoes, or fir tip syrup glazed yams. Anyway, this looks so good and it smells so good. Let's just get right in here and try it out. There it is. Hot. Now, what makes this dish just over the top is that fir tip syrup that I made. And like I said, you can scroll back and find that video on how I made that, but also I'll link that video to the end of this video so you can check it out. But that's what really makes this different than any other like candied sweet potato that you've ever had. It's so good, and it tastes so familiar. It tastes so much like the holidays, but there's something different, and we obviously know that that's the fir tips, but it really just kicks it up to another level. It's so good. But of course, if you don't have the fir tip syrup, there are places to buy like spruce tip syrup online. You can even probably get it on Amazon or something like that. But anyway, it smells so good, so different, so delicious. It tastes like those candied yams that you've had your whole life, but just has that something a little bit different. Really good. And the orange in there, I think is a must. When I make candied yams, I always put a little bit of orange in there, the zest and the juice of the orange. So good. Normally I make this dish with Steen's cane syrup instead of the fir tip syrup. So basically the same recipe I always make. I just kicked it up with the fir tip syrup, and really, man, it makes a big difference. But it does still taste very familiar. So good. I would definitely recommend this recipe for your Thanksgiving meal this year. Like I said, see if you can find some fir tip syrup or spruce tip syrup online before the holidays, and see what you think. And the best part of the whole thing is it's super quick and super easy. Anyway, thank you so much for following along as always. I hope you found this recipe kind of fun and interesting, something a little different. And I always appreciate you tuning in to see what Arlo and I are up to. Arlo's in the other room right now waiting for me to finish this video so we can go head out in the woods, and that's what we're going to do. Anyway, if you like this video, please like, please subscribe. That always helps us a lot, and we will see you in the next one. All right, bye-bye.
Gas up the Jeep, it's fun to be free. Load up the pans and fishing poles. Arlo and I, we hit the open road. Arlo and I